Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are live on an impromptu. That's right, an impromptu live stream. Joining me tonight is Sean, as usual, and we got a special guest. We finally got my good friend Andrew on tonight. So we'll start with Andrew. Andrew, how are you on this wonderful Taco Tuesday? Did you get a taco?
No, I didn't get taco. I did leftover pork chops from Easter.
I dig it. What about you, Sean? How is your Taco Tuesday going?
I didn't do shit today. I got Chinese food.
Happen to always go against the grain. Just admit it. Just admit it that you were the one who pulled the fire alarm. Just admit it. Somehow or another, you made it to OU during Venable's press conference.
I mean, I assumed that Moro Ojimo was about to come out and announce his transfer to Oklahoma, and that was Sarkisian pulling the alarm to prevent that from happening.
That's a good one. I like that. So we got a special one tonight, guys, because we've had so much kind of happen in the past week that I kind of wanted to go over a whole lot. And Andrew and I have been wanting to chit chat as well and talk some topics as well with Sean. So let's kind of just delve into it. First, Sean, Andrew, I am very bummed to say we're no longer a softball school. Just pack it up. The team lost over the weekend. I mean, how are they going to win the national championship now when they can't even beat Texas for it? I'm just saying.
I'm disappointed because I was ready to do all these Bud Wilkinson memes because they were at 40, and I'm like, my God, if they break 47, I'm gonna have so much fun with that. But unfortunately, it didn't go that way. So once again, I'm not allowed to have any fun in that regard. But it is what it is. My phone doesn't want to clear my messages. Now it does. But yeah, they were going to lose a game eventually. That's fine. They won the series, which is fascinating to me.
Why fascinating with it?
Well, it's fascinating because I got because Texas they put together like a video like they had. It was because my buddy Eric Lopez, who has a lot to say about it. He was ripping them more than OU fans were. He thought it was like kind of pathetic the way they were celebrating like they had never won a softball game before. And I know why they did it, because they want to point to, you rushed the field in the football game last year. That's because you blew like a 21-0 lead. And it was like the greatest comeback in the history of the rivalry. You're allowed to do that. You won the tail end of a series you already lost at home, and it's not going to have that much effect on rankings or brackets or who's hosting super regionals and whatnot. So, yeah, congratulations, you did it. See you in the Big 12 Championship Series, I guess, maybe.
It was their first time, and was it 24 tries they've beaten OU or something like that?
I mean, it's just like football, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely feels like in this case little sister mentality. But first time in 24 games or whatever it was, I'll give it to him, I guess.
The only news I'm concerned about with softball, Mackenzie Donahue is taking leave of absence today, according to Patty Gasso. So she didn't play this past weekend. So, whatever's going on with her, hopefully everything's okay. Obviously she killed it in the championship series last year. So hopefully whatever it is, she can make it back, and, there's enough time, but just wish her the best. So.
Do you think that was a contributing factor to their loss on Sunday, that they just wanted to get it out of the way?
Oh no, like the bats were cold altogether, and Jordy Ball could not get out of the sixth inning. If they get out of that inning, in theory, then they potentially win the game 2-1. But they, it was just, they just. She's been playing with fire a lot this year. She's a freshman, so give credit where credit's due. But, there's been plenty of innings this year where I've been listening / watching almost every game this year where she would get in trouble, like bases are loaded or 2 runners on, and then slowly but surely work her way out of it. And this time she finally got bit, and it cost them big time. So they almost had a little bit of a run at the top of the 7th, but it is what it is. But like we're like their first loss of the year. Season started in what, late February?
Yeah.
And we're in. This is around when they got their first loss last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was around the same time. So it happens. I think it was doomed to happen when it was starting to become like, could they actually do this? Is it possible? I mean, if they got through Texas, it would be like the real serious last test would have been Oklahoma State in a couple of weeks. And then because I think they'll take care of North Texas, Iowa State, the University of Kansas City, not the Royals, but the school. And then you got Bedlam, and then you got to win a Big 12. And then depending on how you match up your regionals, then. But yeah, it happens. They'll be fine. They're going to continue to be really good. Allo's still hitting well. Tiara Jennings hitting well. Grace Lyons hitting well. So.
It's softball.
Yeah, like Andrew, you and I were talking about it not that long ago, where we were talking about the baseball walkout when they started to make their run for it, and we're like, well, at least we have softball to look forward to.
I mean, it's softball. It's not a sport that's designed like. Even just the way it is now, it's not designed to be able to go through a win, to be able to go through a 0-loss season. You're just going to have a bad day or get, even last season with OU softball, where, we were great all season. Then we hit the World Series, and just another 1 or 2 bad pitching matchups almost kind of derailed us last year.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing you and I all cracked the joke on. It was last year they intentionally lost to the 16th seed just so they could break more records from it. I mean, but they had a gauntlet they had to go through. And this, to me, I feel like this was coming at some point as well. I didn't expect it against Texas. I was actually expecting it against Oklahoma State. But I felt like the pressure was starting to get to them for it. And with it gone, they don't have to worry anymore. And they can just play.
I was more like intrigued that the first game was low scoring, and it looked like this third game was going to be low. Eric thought it had potential to be like a shootout, literally type of game, depending on how things went. So, Texas is very balanced. They don't have like that. I mean, comparing like Oklahoma's like roster is so insane with like hitters and people, anyone on that roster who can just like hit home runs at any given time. But like it's a very balanced roster. There isn't like they don't have that one superstar player per se. You just go look, season stats and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I mean, but they were able to get it done, and they celebrated like they never won a game before, and that's fine. I am totally fine with that. And I'm not mad at all. It's like, act like you haven't won a softball game before. That's totally fine with me.
Yeah. My coworkers were upset that they lost to Texas. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but they won the series. To me, that's what matters more.
They won the fucking series.
Yeah. Like, it is what it is. So I personally don't have an
issue. It's like Aggies it's like A&M fans back in the old Big 12 days. Like, well, we dominated the second and third quarter stats after you were losing by 40. But sure.
Andrew, that makes me think of what we talked about a couple days ago of that. Well, Oklahoma State's doing better than Texas and Texas A&M because they were only a yard short of making it to the playoff. Yes, but you still lost. You didn't make it.
I've always wanted to live in that world where Oklahoma State made the playoff or saved us from Alabama, LSU, just to see what would have happened there.
You just want to see that timeline.
You don't lose to Iowa State.
Exactly. I don't lose to Iowa State. Yeah, I don't know. It's always been a crazy one, but it's like Oklahoma State can say what they want.
I vouch for those motherfuckers too. I said they should get in.
Yeah.
I was like, Alabama lost. Don't put them in there. Like, just like, and that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, that is what led to the playoff at that point, though.
Yeah, well. Jim Delaney went, "Oh shit!" It's like, we need to expand. We need a playoff like now because they knew if they didn't do it, it's like, well, once you let open Pandora's box, It happened with that, and then in 2017, the build up to the 2017 season, all I heard being spoken into existence all that offseason was 2 SEC teams are going to make the playoff. I'm like, can we play the season first? Nope, 2 SEC teams. And look what happened. Georgia and Alabama make the goddamn playoff.
Yep.
They spoke it into existence. It's an opinion sport. And until you have automatic bids and have a direct path to the damn playoff, it's an opinion sport till said otherwise. It is gymnastics. Congrats to the women, by the way.
Some of it is speaking it. Other parts of it, you gotta make them be able to say no. You gotta be, you gotta, at the end of the day, win your games. If Oklahoma State wins, they're in. That's just how it goes. Same if OU beats Oklahoma State, and imagine have a shot. But
imagine if LSU Bama was a boring ass playoff game, and then what if that Fiesta Bowl with Pokes and Stanford was a playoff game? Great playoff game, great win for Mike Gundy and his program. And then you'd have LSU and Oklahoma State. Now, I think LSU still would have won. I think they would have.
That LSU team was so good. I did not see them beat. They basically half-assed all their games and won by 16.
I mean, the Honey Badger and all that stuff. So, yeah, it was a good.
I do miss that LSU era. I swear every single time. I do miss the school of Les Miles clock management.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I saw it was either.
I misspoke. It would have been like Bama and Oklahoma State. So I completely forgot because I keep thinking, LSU won the regular season game controversially or whatever.
Yeah.
BS reason you would come up with, but no, it would have been Bama Oklahoma State. So
yeah. I still remember that game where they hyped it up as the best thing ever, and it was. I mean, I wouldn't even say defensive wise it was that okay.
Well, no, like Musburger and Herbstreit were dying in the booth. They're like, oh, someone for LSU crossed the 50-yard line. No, it was horrendous. It was just it set football back 50 years.
That's why we're in a playoff. It actually made us go backwards so far. We had to go back to the playoffs.
So I will admit I did find that regular, I guess you call it regular season fun, because I have a friend who went to Alabama. He got me tickets for that game. Great atmosphere to be at, being in Alabama for that game. Even though if I had watched on TV, I would have turned it off and gone and done anything else at some point. But
it's one of those. It reminds me a lot of what you and I have talked about, Andrew, about sometimes it really does depend on like baseball.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining at the moment for it, but for like that one, I could see the environment being like rock on there during the live stream, but like actual during like TV, it was boring. I remember we were all just like kind of at that point of, is this game gonna end yet? Is this gonna can we move on? Can we do something, guys? I remember that with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, college football can never move on because the playoff has because the playoff has made it so, and now the transfer portal has made it so all the good players go to like 5 teams.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And according to the resident troll and stuff as well, that one school's gonna do fantastic. Don't feed the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. Don't do it, guys. Just don't feed the trolls. Unless it's Lincoln Riley's brisket. That's okay. Sean, you also, side note, you mentioned, and I was going to bring it up too, unlike softball who lost their game, the gymnastics team won their next championship. I think we're at number 5 now for the women's team, and the men's got runner-up in gymnastics. I mean, massive kudos to both of those coaches. They make that a Olympic school. They really do, and I've seen it where when I was at Center Vision, we all knew they got up early. They were all dedicated to win. Andrew, you remember all the stories we heard of. Yeah, they would get up and be at practice by 5 a.m. to get it done. They were there for one thing and one thing only. And I think having the river sports and the Olympic training stuff coming to Oklahoma City is only going to help out gymnastics when both of those coaches finally decide they don't want to do it anymore. But kudos to the gymnastics team. It's always great when they bring home a natty as well. We're a footy school. That's what it comes down to. We can't bring it home in football, but we can bring it home in the other sports. That's what it is. So, but yeah, I'm happy for them. I had the opportunity if I wanted to go down to gymnastics meet, but I was like, And I don't want to pay $200. I know you got all the games with it, you got all the matches for all weekend, but I was like, 200's a lot. But it would have been fun to go to one of those at this point. It's like being at the softball championships.
I have no idea what happens with those things. I know there's flips. I know there's dancing. I know there's. I know they get scores. I don't know why they get scores. I just look at numbers. I know they go up and down. I just see the teams or the girls, the guys react. I'm like, something good must have happened. That looked like a good flip, a good land. I mean, do they use the Sagarin ratings? I don't know, like something like that.
Of course, they have to be used somewhere.
Did they use the FPI, ESPN FPI? Is that what they use? I don't know.
I mean, look, you got to use the system somewhere during the off season. Of course, each one that's not used, they use it in the individual thing. So dancing gets the FPI, beam gets Sagarin. No, I enjoyed working gym. That was actually one of my favorite events I ever worked was gymnastics at the time. It's very fast paced for it, and I understand the scoring and why they do it. The men's is very, very technical to me, and it's boring, but the women's is actually very entertaining to watch, especially with vault and the dance routines. At least for me, I can't claim it for anybody else, but I think you'd enjoy it if you saw it in person. When you go to that environment, it is insane how dedicated all those people watching it. They bring out a good crowd. So, Andrew, did you catch any of the gymnastics?
I did not. That's kind of like Sean. If the Olympic announcers tell me good things are happening, I'll believe them. But I just don't know gymnastics well enough. Glad they won, but
yeah,
great for them. It's one of those things I just don't know. I just don't know what it's about.
No, that makes sense. Hey, you both still know more than, the illustrious grand equestrian championship that Oklahoma State won over the weekend against the other 17 teams that actually play the sport. I have my own rule of if you don't have at least a fourth of 64 teams playing, you're not playing a real sport. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I get it. More power to them. Don't understand it. So, but Andrew, we brought it up, and this was something we talked about prior to this, and I think it's all come together at this point. So let's kind of delve a little bit more into OU football stuff, and well as a topic Sean and I have kind of talked about at this point, and I think tying it in with Radler has helped. And it's like some of the toxicity in the locker room. If you didn't see, Radler released his ESPN article, I guess, however you want to say it, over the weekend. Good news time to dump news article because it was a holiday weekend. But some of it confirmed that, stuff under Riley was pretty toxic. But the thing that kind of caught my attention, and Andrew, you mirrored this as well, is Radler seemed to kind of not understand, like, he was kind of the issue too at this point. Like, he said he didn't give his fair shot when he got more than enough chance for his fair shots. But then that kind of extends to the NFL as well, of this locker room toxicity as well. So do you want to elaborate a little bit, Andrew, on what we were talking about?
So my thing with Rattler is his number one goal right now is rebuilding his draft stock, because it took such a hit last year. It's, I mean, you're talking about, because Rattler is what next year? Is he a junior? Is he a senior? Was he next year?
He's a junior. Yeah, he's a
junior next year. Okay, yeah. But yeah, it's just his draft stock just tanked because he's because if you buy into how great Lincoln Riley is, the cult of Lincoln, he's a QB who basically failed under Lincoln Riley, had to be benched. Caleb Williams would be brought on. So as far as some of the Rattler stuff, I'm taking a grain of salt with some of it. Mm-hmm. That said, locker room toxicity can just 100% take you down. If the team doesn't believe in Rattler, or if the game, it's hard to say. Gameplay may have been bad. Rattler may have just been bad. We're going to see more at South Carolina this year, what it really was for Rattler, because he has talent. But he has talent, but he made a lot of stunningly bad decisions last year, and how much of that comes down to coaching. I mean, we still don't know. When was Lincoln? I mean, had overtures to Lincoln Riley started at that point, because I mean, just everything just felt off last year with it. And I mean, and with Lincoln, it doesn't help that he had this. I mean, basically this lockdown culture there, where no one was allowed near the team. No one could know anything. This extremely paranoid culture, and well, now we know what he was being paranoid about. But
they're gonna find out about my contract to LSU.
something like that. I mean, so I mean, best of luck to Rattler. He needs a good year to rebuild some of his stock, because coming out next year would be maybe a disaster for him. But
yeah.
I mean, just because next year's supposed to be a really good QB class. But yeah, so always kind of view what Rattler's saying through that. Basically, he needs to rebuild stock he needs to rebuild himself long term. So
it seems
obviously
like
obviously he's not at fault even, and then he played into it. I mean, just watch. I mean, even though the offense didn't get perfect under Williams, the offenses were still night and day between the two of them. And I mean,
absolutely.
And some of that may have been Lincoln tailoring the offense to prepare for Williams, and it wasn't really tailored to Rattler. We don't know. We just don't
exactly. Know. And you and I talked about it, and Rattler brought it up in his article, I guess, where, well, obviously Lincoln had faith in me because he threw me in the 2-point conversion, bro. Caleb is not making those throws in the scout team practice. Like, of course you're going to be brought in for that. And Sean, you and I talked about that during the OU Texas stuff, where it's like we have to see what Rattler's future is at this point. But Sean, Andrew brought up a point with it, and you've kind of covered it a little bit as well. Not just with the OU stuff, but what is going on with Texas right now with their locker room? Like, what is going on? What is Texas right now?
It's the same thing they do every night, Pinky. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say other than it's going to be different this time. Okay. All the little details, all the red flags that popped up. When they said Steve Sarkisian was going to be the next head coach at Texas, my first reaction to it was gut-wrenching laughter. And
you were howling.
I was howling. Yes, of course I was howling. It's like, oh my God. Because they put all their chips in to try to get Urban Meyer, which, depending on how you want to spin it, could be like a blessing in disguise. But I don't know if you can hire Urban Meyer at the moment.
You can't hire Urban Meyer at the moment.
You can hire him to be an analyst at Fox again to take his spot back from Bob, apparently. But
I mean, Urban at Texas could have been good before the Jaguars debacle.
No, I desperately wanted them to get Urban Meyer. Desperately. Because if a Messiah-like figure in the coaching world would walk in there and fail, what do you do next? What happens then? I mean, does it? Because, first of all, red flag number one, you go 5-7. I don't care how you try to spin that shit. You went 5-7. Well, they only lost so many games by this many. You went 5-7 and lost to Kansas. Fuck you. So that's number one. The pole assess and monkey thing was just hilarious, and it was a sideshow thing. It had nothing to do with the football team, but it's still hilarious.
Sean, it's so funny you brought that up because
it's so funny.
At work, my coworkers were just like, "What is going on at Texas? Like, we saw the recruiting thing. Is this as bad as the monkey thing?" I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's roll with that. Yeah, that was great at the time.
No, that will always be wonderful, and I will never let that die. And I will always bring that up. That will be a college game day sign till the end of time. for somebody.
But Sean, you know what's funny, by the way, is Alabama and A&M were both, yeah, we're aware of it. What? Yeah, it was a thing for a bit for us too.
Well,
Good luck, Texas.
Well, the monkey didn't bite a kid. That's the difference. That's
true.
That's why Texas is cursed. This monkey finally bites a kid after going to Texas.
Well, no, the obviously other red flag that means Sarkisian is going to fail, and you can tell me how great recruiting is right now, because it's technically better, I guess.
Yeah,
sure, but
they got
you
the receiver from Alabama.
You can go to fucking Whole Foods and buy all the freshest ingredients in the world and put it down in front of me on a kitchen counter, and you can ask me to make chicken cordon bleu all you want. It ain't gonna fucking happen. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but Texas football is still the horrible football culture because you had Moro Ojomo, a senior leader on that team, which Oklahoma recruited, by the way. They attempted to get him. He went to Texas. And kid who came from Nigeria, very smart, well-spoken, very intelligent, has seen 4 years of garbage outside of 1 year. I don't know how much he had to do with that 18 season, but now he's witnessing guys coming in this year talking about NIL, talking about going down to 6th Street, and look, I am not holding it against any college athlete who wants to be a college student and wants to get laid or party in your town. That happens at Oklahoma too. So
what? You're telling me this happens at OU, the bastion of wholesomeness?
Yeah. So, but the problem is that when you don't have an established culture of winning, regardless of who's in charge and how it was slowly being eroded over the past 5 years, it was still better than what's going on at Texas. And then you have Sarkisian pop in and he gets asked that. And no one was talking about Ojomo until they asked Sarkisian about it last week. No one was talking about it. And so he gets asked about it, and then he goes on his little rant, and he doesn't say what he said was wrong. And then he ends, well, you won't be hearing from him for a while, or if ever. And it's like, okay, you just basically silenced a leader in your locker room. You said to, I don't care what was supposedly said afterwards behind closed doors. The optics of that are just horrendous, because what did he say that people don't already kind of know? And you can say whether or not we know it or not, but you know how I know it sucks? I've watched the last 12 years of Texas football. It's not good. I ask this question every time. I've asked this question 3 times in the past 12 years. When Texas beats Oklahoma, I say, okay, what are you going to do with this win? One time they kind of sort of did something with it. 18. They lost to the rematch of the Big 12 title again. They wouldn't want a Sugar Bowl. Other than that, what have you done? What have you done with the win? I mean, your recruiting's still great, but again, I ain't making chicken cordon bleu, and neither are you. So and then you get to the ESPN FBI, which is it's meant to aggregate and get clicks and everything. And
definitely during the off season for sure.
Oh, of course, and I need clicks too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna talk about it. So it's just the fact that I'm like, what the fuck is this formula? I'm cursing a lot tonight, so I'm just in a mood. So apologize to your parents and family who watch this, but I'm in a mood tonight. And I just don't care right now.
They are so disappointed in you.
I'm sure they are. So I apologize to you treat me well, and I know this is like not very family friendly, but I can't right now. I've seen too much crap the past couple days to deal with.
Sean, as long as you never reach the point where ketchup falling on your shoe makes you go off, you're good. You're good.
Oh no.
Anyway,
we're not going to do that. So it's this convoluted analytics formula, and I knew recruiting had to have, and of course recruiting does have something to do with it, but it accounts your past 4 years and what you accomplished. And that's for everybody. I don't know what Sam Ehlinger has anything to do with today. I don't know what Kyler Murray has anything to do with today, because apparently they are factored in based on this ranking. Because of the last 4 seasons, Kyler Murray ain't here. Sam Ellinger ain't here. All those, like, so they count all these things and they spit it out. So, well, Texas is clearly number 6 in the country based on what? I've looked at wins and losses. You ain't 6. You ain't number 6. The only thing you're number 6 in is being garbage. Is being overrated. Yeah. I just it's just I'm not. It's not Texas fans I get mad at. It is the machine. It is the PR machine that spins, because you got the Ari Wassermans of the world, who, like on the Athletic, who up until recently was just, well, Texas is, when Texas gets it all going, when the Texas is all, well, gets it going, they're going to be Alabama unstoppable. Still waiting. And I think he finally cracked after this. He finally cracked. And now he's moved over to A&M, which, newsflash, yeah. So you could sell me how great this past recruiting class is. Listen, I would love to have that recruiting class, but you're going to sit here and tell me they're not going to have the same problems that Texas has with like NIL, because here's my little thing with NIL. Everyone treats NIL as this boogeyman, and it's not going away. But but here's the thing. It's going to be the same crap. There should be all these.
It's just out in the open.
Well, no, like it's whether it's Ojimo or A&M, it's gonna be guys. All they care about is short-term money, and you're gonna get a lot of guys. Like, you can sign, like Texas signed 7 blue chip offensive linemen. Oh, so you're gonna play 7 offensive linemen at the same time? All true fresh? Are they all gonna play at once? Like 2, at least 2 of you got to be a backup.
Yeah.
So, oh, look at all the defensive linemen the Aggies got. Okay, I mean, you can rotate D linemen, I guess, but only 1 or 2 guys can be stars.
And like with the Rattler, these guys are coming in because they want to play on Sunday. And if they're stuck in a rotation where they're not allowed to show off, they're leaving. Because it's like they'll take it's like, okay, cool, I got my short-term money. Transfer portal, go somewhere else where I can show off my skills better. Because that's what these guys want. The kind of guys who really, because you'll have some guy, because you'll be able to convince someone to take a little less NIL money, at least at some point, if it gets them a starting job.
Well, a certain someone thinks it'll correct itself. It's not going to correct itself.
No.
It's going to get worse until they all get together and have a powwow and say, wait a minute, maybe we should regulate this a little more. You think it's going to stop? Like, it's like, oh, it'll correct itself. No, it's not. No. Like the coaching staffs and the ADs and schools aren't controlling this. It's the boosters. So if you think this is going to stop or go away, you've lost your damn mind. So you can treat NIL like a boogeyman all you want. I mean, it's just you have to play the game. Like, although people act like Oklahoma haven't been, all the big schools who haven't been secretly paying guys under the table are just full of crap. Oregon's been infamous. Georgia's been infamous. Oklahoma's offered, like, Oklahoma boosters have been paying players for years. It's not it's like one of the worst kept secrets. You don't know the details, but come on. Adrian Peterson drove around in a car for free from Big Red Sports and Imports. You telling me the ones that got caught for underhanded stuff was Bomar and JD Quinn? Peterson drove around in a car for a month for free. The reason they got around that shit, because, like, well, we offer it to everybody. We just don't advertise it as much. So,
well, it's as think Barry Switzer. I mean, it's the same thing too. I mean,
why can't I pay my babysitter $100 an hour?
Yeah, the infamous Billy Sims story. They needed food. I'm going to give them money. Billy, can you watch my kid for 2 hours? I'll give you $5,000. Sure, coach. I'll do it.
Arian Foster played Tennessee. Told the head coach at the who is the
Dooley?
Fulmer. He told Fulmer.
Okay, Fulmer.
Yeah, he told Fulmer once that he was starving. He's like, Coach, I need you to bring me something to eat, because if you don't, I'm going to go out and do something stupid. He said that on a documentary that you could watch on Netflix. And then he came back with a bunch of tacos from Taco Bell. Like he said, if you don't, I need some food, or I'm gonna go out and do something stupid.
I mean,
But that was the old days. Now, like, because we all remember Gabe Eichert and Pastagate and all that. Like, you had to repay for the.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that.
So a lot has changed, a lot has improved, but I'm just sick of the fuddy-duddies on message boards and people in my comments like NIL is a boogeyman. It's like, you either get on board or if you don't like NIL, you better stop watching sport. I'm sorry.
It's good.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, like, if it's gonna bug you to see guys getting paid or do endorsements, I got bad news. It ain't going away.
NIL,
It's not gonna stop. So what you need to do is get on board and embrace it, because if you don't, you're gonna have a rough time of it.
Yeah, I mean, NIL and transfer portal are going to screw over teams who weren't really going to be in the national championship conversation anyway. But anyone who wants to be a national championship program, they're investing.
Here's the
now.
Here's the thing with the transfer portal. It's like so many guys like people like the transfer portal ain't going to do anything. Like, so many guys drop in the portal because they think, oh, they could go find another spot. Like, a lot of guys overvalue what they're worth.
Yeah,
like, and that's I want to say that, John, you're not wrong. I'm letting you talk on it, but you're not wrong on it. I want to throw a stat at you. Right now, 30% of all football players are in the transfer portal. Right now,
yeah. And guess what? No, well, I don't know if it's not 30%. I don't think it's that high. But what it is that there are guys who Spencer Radler was gonna find a home. Austin Stogner was gonna find a home. Like, most of these guys that are worth a damn already know where they're going. They just have to get in the portal to make it legal and official.
Yeah.
Like, they already know where they're going. If you're a 2.5-star recruit who's not happy about his situation, and you're at Eastern Michigan and you think you're going to find a better spot because
it seems like with the transfer portal, a Radler or Stogner, using them as the example, or what's his name, Hazelwood. If you're going from Oklahoma to, say, like an Arkansas, a Utah, yes, you're going to find a home. They saw your talents at the big school. It doesn't necessarily work the other way around.
You're a 5-star. So of course you're going to get another chance. Like, there was just an Alabama wide receiver just transferred to Texas, and I'm sure he'll be the next great thing that will lead them to victory this year for whatever reason.
Wide receivers always do that. That's why they win so many Heismans.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
I don't know about Heisman's, but
joke, but yeah.
I got it. I understood your joke.
But no, like the portal is just like, I think players should have free movement. Like, if like I have no problem with players being able to move. If coaches can go wherever the hell they want in the middle of the night and go take another job somewhere, so should players.
Yeah.
So I mean, everyone who hates that is like, guess what? Like, you don't have to like it, but
Andrew and Andrew and I have talked about this in length in person when we hit up dinner every so often. I've been a vocal person, said, I get it. I am personally not a fan of NIL because I think the intention of it was like, go do an autograph signing. If you want to do a car dealership thing, whatever. It was not meant to make you a millionaire overnight type of deal.
Why not? Why not? Like, it's a small group of guys who could potentially make that kind of money historically, but why not? Like, I hate that argument. It's like, if you're Baker Mayfield or you're Tim Tebow, or any monster college name, why can't you? Like, that's the whole point of it. Now, again, market value, we're figuring out who's worth what, and that's like, I think that will quote unquote like that. That's why Texas created this, like, as much as I rag on, I thought it was brilliant. Well, they created this little slush fund for offensive linemen. They are giving them blanket NIL deals. Offensive linemen, come on in. We desperately need you. That's why they signed 7 guys. That's why they got one of the big recruits we were going after earlier that we missed out on. Didn't even, and so forth. So
yeah,
it's just no. I like just the whole autograph signing thing. Is like, is it short-term money? Yeah, but if you're one of the very, very small individuals who can make $1 million, go get it. Quinn Ewers, good for you, dude. You might suck and not live up to the hype, but someone thought you were worth a lot of money. Congrats, bro. Do something good with it. If you flail out, and no one can take that money from you. Legally, they can't. They can't back out on. If you end up sucking, they still got to pay you. So go get your. If someone is stupid enough to offer a high school quarterback that much money, Arch Manning is a guy that's going to come to mind. He don't need it, but someone's going to offer him. Go get what you're worth. If the free market, like a lot of people hate capitalism, they hate the capitalist society that we live in. But damn it, if I was in their spot and someone to pay me that much, bring it on, dude. Yeah. Now, if you surround yourself with smart people, mentors, good, you have parents who raised you well and knows, okay, here's what you do with this. Here's put them this much away just in case you get hurt. Blah blah blah. As long as you do that and are smart about it, go for it. But no, I have no problem with anybody. If the market says you're worth this much, go get what you're worth. Go do it. I don't care how old you are. Go for it. So if Jackson Arnold gets offered $1 million from an OU booster because they think he's the next, because he's going to get his 5th star and he's the next big thing, go get it, my man. Go do it. Go be the mascot for Love's truck stops. Go do it, man. When they give that money to build the softball stadium, the brand new one, you go get your money too, or Sonic or whoever, or whomever. So again, no problem with it.
I've always had the issue with it for the sole fact that just it's a combination of stuff, but I'm also would be a hypocrite if I didn't say until the system itself is fixed, it doesn't matter how much I dislike it. I may dislike how the NIL deals are done and they're basically blank check. Guess what? Is it solving anything that the system's already broken?
It's not a blank check. I mean, what Texas is doing technically is like a little. You're not technically supposed to do it that way, but if you can get away with it, more power to you. But no, it's like you're getting paid to be a spokesman or spokesperson for a certain, company or whatever. They want to pay you, like, go for it. Like,
to me, the intention was always let's go this next up because Andrew and I have talked about this as well.
Well,
NIL, hey, we're gonna give you $10,000 to come do a car dealership thing. Cool, I'm gonna go take that. Versus saying like a Caleb Williams where, we're going to give you like stock. It was never meant to give players stock. That was not. I mean, it's or real estate.
If you want to offer me like Nike stock, I'll take it.
I mean, I mean, some guys were definitely getting a car out of it. It's. Yeah. I get what it is. It was always going to go to this level.
But we're acting like this hasn't been going on for years under the table.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah.
Reggie Bush got paid, and he lost his Heisman in eligibility, and like all the games he played were deemed like no contest or whatever because of it.
Which is ironic because when all that stuff came up, Reggie should get his stuff back. Reggie was doing also other shit under the table, so no, he shouldn't get it back.
I don't care if Reggie gets it back. I don't care if he gets it back or not. It's irrelevant to me.
He really won, but yeah, it's.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The only thing with NIL. My only thing is at some point it's going to crash and burn because not totally, but something's going to have something's.
It's not going to crash and burn.
Well, let me rephrase. It's not going to. There's going to be some scandal at some point because it's too much too fast.
Okay, so
I don't know. I'm just saying you're going to get some journalist or you're going to get someone on Twitter going nuts over it.
They're doing that now. They're doing that now. It's happening already. Like, it's not going away. You know why?
I don't think it's going to go. It's not going to go away. No.
Like, the boosters care about the clout. For some of these boosters, the money is irrelevant.
Like
they're
Miami.
not just my. I'm talking. Let's keep it our region. I'm talking about the good old boys, that old Southwest Conference type of boosters. Because that's who we're dealing with, and you can add the OU guy like with Texas and Texas A&M. A lot of these guys have money to burn, and they don't care. I mean, do they want a return on their investment and they want it to work out? Absolutely, they do. But it's about going into that boardroom and talking to your fellow executives or your fellow oilmen or whatever who went to another school and saying, "Guess who I bought today." The number one defensive tackle in the country is coming to A&M. That's what they want to do.
Gotta get that
tried to.
gut.
It's about looking. It's like our class is better than yours this year. It's all about that clout, and it's going to continue to be about that clout.
Gotta get that gold Trans Am.
Yes.
Yeah,
So like it's just like people act like again, people act like this is new. It's not new.
No.
It's like you turn the kitchen light on, the cockroaches are scattering, except they're not scattering. They're like, what? We've been doing this the whole time. It's like Joe's apartment. That's a deep cut right there.
It literally, that was good, Sean. That was good.
The cockroaches aren't scattering. They're going.
Yeah, turn the light out.
So
it's more out in the open at this point, and that's where you're seeing the people freak out of it's happening. It always has. It's just Sean, where you or Andrew, it was one of the two that I spoke to from y'all. What that was basically the only ones who've gotten into trouble are the ones who did not hide it well, like Jim Tressel. Like you got in trouble because you were stupid about it.
Jim Tressel wasn't responsible for it. He got in trouble because he got caught in an email lying to the NCAA saying nothing happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
the Ohio State players are doing stupid shit. Like if you beat Michigan, you get the gold pants. It's a little tradition. You get little gold pants because they put their pants on one leg at a time. It's an old tradition. You get little gold. So they were trading them to get tats. Okay, this is like 16 karat gold or whatever there, and it was among other things. And like the reason Jim Tressel got fired or got let go because he got caught lying to the NCAA red-handed, black and white in emails. That's what happened. He would just got slapped in the wrist, move on. But he got caught in a lie directly. So that's what happened down there.
I mean, that's also part of why Urban, quote unquote, resigned from Ohio State, whatever you want to call it with him.
He also resigned from Jacksonville. Things happen. I'm feeling sick again, guys. I need to spend more time with my family.
I mean, oh god, man, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss Urban in the NFL. High comedy.
You just liked it because he was failing so hard in Jacksonville.
I mean, yes, I like it. Yes, if my team's bad, I like other teams to. I enjoy the failure of other teams if they're doing it in a hilarious way.
But you're also a Cleveland fan, so let's tie it all in. You're a Cleveland fan. Has anything updated with Baker of where you think he's actually going to land? Because now the stuff's come out that Carolina wants him. Maybe I don't think he's going to go.
I honestly think Carolina is going to bite the bullet. Because
really,
yes, I might be wrong here, but I'll give my reasons. Rule is fired at the end of the year if there's no meaningful improvement. And the GM is fired if there's no meaningful improvement. We know what Darnold is. The Browns will probably eat some of his salary to make a better pick. And essentially, it really comes down to this for Carolina. I think you're hearing rumblings because they've been trying to trade back into the first round, trying to come up with something. They can't. So I'm guessing they're stuck at 6. Meaning, if they want a quarterback, they have to Matt Corral, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. None of these guys is going to save Matt Rule. None of these guys is going to save any jobs in Carolina. They're just not. They're rookies.
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen, and they're probably not going to get an extension on it. I mean, we know Carolina was heavily involved for Deshaun Watson, so they're willing to try and improve. And you can talk, and if you do want to try and talk yourself into Baker, Carolina, Rule was a college coach. Baker was a very good college quarterback. You have Christian McCaffrey, you have Robbie Anderson, draft a lineman, and the NFC is so much weaker than the AFC. You probably could get Baker to get you a wild card spot. And I'm not that high on Baker at this point. But in the NFC, if things went exactly right, that could work out for Carolina and buy Rule some time. But
Why? I think it's important to mention, why hasn't Rule worked out at Carolina? Is he kind of like Nick Saban, where college was his bread and butter, but he kind of may have got over his head or walked
No,
into a terrible
no,
situation?
it's a terrible situation, Carolina. I mean, they Cam Newton left, and who did Carolina replace him with? Teddy Bridgewater, who got
The
injured.
holdover, yeah.
Who got injured? Darnold last year, who got injured. It's Carolina does not have a quarterback. Add in the fact that McCaffrey's been hurt. He's been hurt a lot. He's been hurt a lot these last couple of years. And in the NFL, that's what it comes down to. It's why the Browns traded first round picks for Deshaun Watson, because unless you have a quarterback, and I'll kind of go to Washington as an example of this here. Washington, great receiver in Terry, fantastic. Chase Young, great edge. They have a solid defense. They've been running up bad quarterbacks year after year, and unless you have a quarterback in the NFL, you're just not part of the conversation. Look at the Kansas City Buffalo game, and just look at what Mahomes and Josh Allen were doing. And that's part of why you've seen so many teams this past offseason sell everything to try and improve their quarterback situation. So I don't think Rules made a lot of smart choices in the NFL, but when your quarterback situation has been what he's had, it's very hard to succeed.
Makes sense. Sean, you and I have talked about it at length with Dallas and stuff. Do you think Dallas? I don't think Baker's going to Dallas, obviously, but is it time for them to finally pack their bags for Dak and kind of rebuild, or is it going to be until something happens to Jerry Jones?
There's no one to get. There's no one to get right now. Like, who are you going to get? Like the optimal instant impact quarterback is it just went to Cleveland, even though he's a piece of shit human who's got. I don't care. Like, when you have 20 people accuse you of something, chances are it's probably legit. Yeah. So,
5% chance out of 20. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
So, this isn't a one-off, like he said, she said, like 20 people saying that you're a piece of garbage. And this could come back to bite Cleveland, and I hope it does. So you're dumping. At some point, you're holding Baker hostage. You're going to have to get to deal him at some point, whether it's Seattle or Carolina. Wherever he goes, I know Baker is going to make it his mission in life to ball out. Now, how well he succeeds, who knows? I think him hooking up with Pete Carroll would be fantastic. I think Matt Rule in Carolina would be, I'm sure Baker would do his best. Carolina's got there's that fan base, that organization's got a little bit of an underdog mentality. It's been a while since they've been an expansion franchise, but they have that feeling. It's like Carolina isn't like old money in the NFL.
No.
You get what I'm saying? So there is that sense that you could rally the troops and get behind it. And you got a guy like Christian McCaffrey down there who can, when he's healthy, he's like, so it's just an all-purpose, just like utility tool down there. For Seattle, it's just, they definitely need a quarterback since Russell Wilson's gone. So I don't know. It's NFL's not really my forte. I know the draft's next week. I'll pay attention. I don't think anyone for OU is going first round at this point. Like Perrion was like the best shot in my opinion, but I think he'll go early second round next day.
That's what's going to happen.
So whoever gets it will get a steal, because they don't want to get first round money because, well, you're doing really great in the Senior Bowl and the Combine and all these things, but why didn't you do it last year? Oh, there are reasons. But wherever Baker lands, again, I'm sure he'll do great. He'll do great things, and that's about it. That's all I got to say on that.
Question for both of y'all for it. What about Kyler right now? Do you think how much is Kyler?
Kyler's on the right. I don't care what anyone says.
No, he's not. He's not in the right. He is very much is. Do you think the Cardinals are going to finally budge and pay him what his contract, or do you actually think he's going to walk?
No, then they need to pay him, and they need to get him help too. Like he's been begging for help. So him sitting out and everything is like, I'm on Team Kyler on this all the way. So like, as talented as Kyler Murray is athletically, he can't do it by himself. He can't, and he needs more weapons. So
at the end of the day, the Cardinals really have no choice. They just have no choice but to pay him. I mean, I know, and yeah, I mean, we get every time we get close to the draft, people hype up quarterbacks, but I mean it when I say
there are no quarterbacks. There are no quarterbacks worth a damn in this draft this year.
No, there's not.
There's not.
I mean, my boss at my workplace, I saw him, and he's usually up doing stuff at home base, but he was. I saw him today at my work on it because we work in a remote area for it, and even he said, somebody's going to pick up, in his opinion, Baker. He don't know who at it because he has not paid attention as nearly as much as he should for it. But he's like, they got to because there's no quarterback coming in. He's like, you got to get somebody, and there's nobody in this draft that.
Well, the two quarterbacks that thought everyone's going to be worth a damn, like one of them at Carolina, Sam Howell had a shitty year, and then Spencer got benched. So where do you go now? You got to pick it from Pitt. It's like, all right, maybe. Like I've said this before. It's like whoever's going to be, if there's a star quarterback is going to emerge from this thing, it's going to be someone in the middle rounds you never heard of before or weren't expecting. It just has that feel to it.
I mean, I like Malik Willis from Liberty.
Like that's a guy I think could be has that kind of like hidden gem boomer bust type of potential there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
no,
that's the guy you could go with.
I just can't justify taking him top 5 because to me, if you're taking someone top 5, they have to be a guy. And I mean, guys still bust all the time.
There are no guarantees in the top 5 at other positions either. It's like Aiden Hutchinson is no guarantee to be great.
No.
Right.
He was good in the Big Ten, and then like all of a sudden, like he goes up against Georgia, and he's like a non-factor.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he had to single-handedly win that game, but man, like the hype for Michigan in that, as I was excited, I was like, man, this could be a really good game. And then Georgia just beat them down for a quarter and a half, and they stopped trying to score.
Yeah,
they just stopped trying to score.
Yeah,
it was just irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, I mean, draft is going to tell us a lot. My guess is the Baker thing ends with the draft. I could definitely see it being like Carolina and Bridgewater last year, where a deal was just finally done. Bridgewater was moved, and Baker's going to be moved. It's gonna because it just is what it is with Baker.
Yeah, I mean, it's a with the NFL, with how many players have moved around and how much players have retired and stuff at this point, it's going to look completely different than it did last year. In my opinion.
I mean, Deebo Samuel from the Niners, his brother's mouthing off somewhere saying he's saying he's going to be traded somewhere that's not the Niners, which I just don't believe for one second because the Niners aren't going to let him go. But
no, not with that one. I got 2 more for you guys, and we'll wrap up for it. Did you also see? And Andrew, I think we briefly touched on it. Did you see JT Daniels is transferring to West Virginia? And West Virginia thinks this is like the second coming of their football team. I'm like, there's a reason why, guys. He did not start.
The nicest thing.
Whoa! What do you mean? There's a reason he didn't start?
I'm just saying that he would, if there was a point where JT Daniels could have came in for Georgia.
He could have come in for Georgia. Like,
yeah.
Let's not twist this. Like, I'm not gonna like. No. What happened last year was a fucking anomaly. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
JT, like, I follow Georgia and the fan base. Everyone was wondering, why isn't JT starting once he got healthy? They still won the national championship, mind you. But everyone was waiting for the dam to break because the defense was just so damn good. And and I blanked on his name. Who quarterback? Stetson Bennett. And Stetson Bennett just did enough. He was good enough. He had no business being the starting quarterback for that team last year.
He had one great quarter, but it was a great quarter.
Yeah, exactly. He made the plays when he had to, but JT Daniels, whatever that was the question. It's like when JT comes back, watch out. Everything's going to come together, because the problem with Georgia last year, like everyone was like ripping Georgia or ripping their schedule because they were just dominating people. And it's like, well, was Arkansas really that good? No, Georgia's just that good.
Yeah.
Like that front seven was ridiculous. Was Florida that good? Or is it like they destroyed people? Like who gave them a game? Like Clemson gave them a game because it was a defensive battle.
First game of the season too.
Yeah, so and that put a dent in Clemson. That was the beginning of the end of Clemson football, because I think they're on the downward spiral.
Bama, you could say Bama the first go around gave them a game. I mean, not
it's like regardless of how Georgia fans feel about this, it was a big factor that their two best wide receivers got hurt. It's not an excuse, because you're Alabama. You should have like 2 5-stars behind them, because I've heard nothing but how great your recruiting classes have been for the past 12 years. So if you don't have other wide receivers who can step up and make plays, that's a you problem. So, but it was a factor. Jamison Williams wasn't out there, and who else was who got hurt in the SEC title game? Was it who were the ones that got? Someone got hurt in the title game. Someone got hurt in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
The point is that it's like, imagine we lost CD and
Mechie. It was John Mechie.
Mechie, yeah. So it's like if we had lost CD and like Hollywood Brown, we'd be fucked. Now, and like we lost Hollywood Brown against Bama, and he tried to play, but he had a broken foot. It was not working. So I would have loved to have seen if that game turned into a shootout potentially, if they readjusted and CD and Hollywood in there, but. Regardless, that's not how that went down. If ands and butts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Trying to spit that out. But yeah, I don't buy the whole JT Daniels can be a good quarterback. I think you can have a legit argument right now that West Virginia could have the best quarterback in the Big 12 right now. You can have that argument as far as I'm concerned. So now, does West Virginia have the pieces around him to do anything with it?
I was about to ask.
I don't know, but if you're West Virginia, that's a great pickup. I'm not going to poo-poo that at all. So when JT Daniels was healthy for Georgia, he was 7-0. He didn't lose a game. So
he wasn't horrible for getting hurt at USC either. And hey, credit to West Virginia, he's a name. He's a recognizable name. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
we gotta go to Morgantown this year, so
yeah. At the very least, West Virginia's put themselves in a much better position than they were at the end of the season.
Yeah,
but what Sean said though is you got to have those pieces though. You can have the best quarterback, but if you don't have anybody to throw to, you do, but you still need a quarterback. I'm just saying they're in a better position. I'm not picking to win the Big 12, but
no one's picking to win the Big 12. But
they're at least in good position. They're in a better position. So
yeah,
I mean it's Quinn Ewers and everyone else. So
yeah. Let's face it. I got one more for you guys, and we'll wrap up. Sean, you mentioned
we haven't even talked about spring football.
We haven't talked about spring football.
The game is this week.
Because we talked about it last week.
But the game is this week.
On
Saturday.
I guess I'm going to broach it in the sense of, Sean, how many people are going to be upset that they cannot watch the spring game?
I don't know. Go to the game. I don't know. Go to the game or come to my watch along stream and bitch at me that I'm not showing it. I don't know. Show the game. You don't want to talk about Jordan Kelly is emerging allegedly, and Connie Walker being the next great corner at OU along with Woody Washington, that being a tandem, or Javonte Barnes going to potentially be a freshman sensation, or Dylan Gabriel is really looking good at quarterback, and the offensive line is starting to maybe put it together a little bit. Key Lawrence is going to be awesome. He's going to like all these Jaleel Farouk and Delaren Turner-Yell just went on talk with Gabe and Teddy and talk about how it's night and day when it comes to practices, because he would know. He's been. Yeah. It's like he was just there for Kurt. He's like, wow, this is different and better and more physical and awesome. And talk about guys who look like they're new people. They're just transforming in front of his eyes. So I don't know. I assume we were going to talk about that at some point.
I mean, we could. But I got a couple more minutes with it because I do have another commitment after this for it. But I got a couple more minutes. Andrew, do you got a couple more minutes?
I got nothing good. I got nothing going on.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit spring for a little bit.
Oh, we're done. So you gotta go. You're done.
I got a couple more minutes that I can leeway with. But for me, with the spring practice thing, to me, until I actually see even some basic stuff, how much stock do I want to take into that?
I'm not saying you're winning a national title or anything. I'm just
no.
I'm just saying, like, we do have a we do have a comparison based on people who were there before and are still here, or come back and go, and things are different, and it's positivity, and they're good things. They're doing the Oklahoma drill again. They're learning how to get physical. They're learning how to fucking tackle.
What?
They're learning how to fucking tackle.
You're telling me
space.
You're telling me, Sean. You're telling me and Andrew that we're no longer.
We're learning how to fucking tackle.
Because he actually has someone who actually knows defense. Like, you're telling me you're not tired of just them ramming
with their goddamn defensive line and have us a pass rush for once.
What? You're telling me we can't drop 3 or rush 3, drop 7? You're telling me? Come on, Sean. Come on.
We're gonna run the goddamn football for once. We're gonna have tight ends who can block, who can get on the edge and knock some fucking heads off. Because we're going to be physical. We're going to have a Clemson defense with an Ole Miss style offense at some point. And when it all comes together, holy shit. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to in the next couple of years.
What can you get from that, though, for the spring game, though? Like, for the actual, not the spring game part of it, but for what is being reported. What is the kind of, I guess, the key highlights that you're getting?
I want to see people fucking tackle!
As we all do.
Arms! And, like, take them to the ground! Behind the line of scrimmage, maybe.
Okay, that's asking a lot of this team, Sean. They're just used to...
I want to see Cody Walker make a pick, or Key Lawrence, like, make somebody regret that they decided to catch the ball and turn upfield.
What highlights, though, have you heard in the news articles, I guess, is the best way to ask.
What have I been saying for the past 5 minutes?
No, in addition to that, like, the big thing for you, not just the tackling, not just the practices have been night and day, not just, like, Venables is getting involved with it. Which ones do you think as actually, like, oh, this is very notable type of deal? This is something like, if there's something you were going to go to the spring game for, what would you say for it? Do you see where I'm going with that? Kind of a different... I guess I go a different question for it, not just the entire package.
Am I talking to a wall?
Maybe.
No, I mean, it's spring football. Everyone is amazing. We're running plays we've never run before. Feeling good, feeling healthy, best shape of my life.
Ed, talk to your son. He needs medication. I apologize for the cursing, but I'm in a mood today. I really am. I apologize if it's unlistenable. I'm sorry, but
nah.
What are you looking forward to? That's like tackling,
but
running the football.
I guess the way I looked at it for like the spring game stuff was, we're looking for tackling, we're looking for running, but they're not going to go full body.
Danny Stutzman murders someone on premium. I want to see Woody Washington just rip the soul out of Marvin Mims or something like that. I don't know.
You're supposed to know. This is a spring practice. You want to see the Baker Mayfield statue fall on somebody. Let's be honest.
No, no, I don't want to see any of that. I want this team to have. I want people to fear this football team again.
Yeah.
On that particular side of the football, I want fear to be struck into their hearts, like it was in the 70s and 80s.
I want a complete game. That's all I want. Just give it.
Yeah.
Just a complete game from everyone. I know it's a lot to ask.
When it's 3rd and 15, I shouldn't be like, okay, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get out of this.
Yeah.
No,
That's
right.
what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 3rd and 15. We were really good on 1st and 2nd down, but if we're lucky, we roll the dice, we can get a 3 and out.
Every time, mostly. Would not do it. It'd be like,
I want our pass rushers to be able to pass rush.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is you want our head coach to actually, utilize our players correctly. Is that
I want him to use the power of Jesus that he's instilling in all of our players, like produce some wins and championships again. Because they're really pushing that. And I'm all for it if it works. I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
Use the power of our Lord and Savior to get some football wins. Do it. Get in those homes. Recruit. Do it.
Here's a question for you. Has there been anything spring practice-wise that hasn't brought up that you're actually surprised that they haven't talked about? Is there anything along those lines?
We haven't talked about our new kicker. I don't know. we have to replace our kicker, and no one's talked about the kicker.
Jokes on you. We don't have a kicker.
We do. We do apparently. Like so. I mean, it hasn't been brought up. I'm sure there'll be some kicking situations on Saturday.
And then he'll miss one, and we can all go and cut, and everyone's cut off his leg, as is tradition.
Just like
with
Jimmy
every
Stevens.
kicker. Yeah.
Yep. Got to feed it to the stadium at this point. If you don't make every single kick from 75 yards, you're just a useless kicker. I'm just saying. Just saying. Andrew, are you going to be going to the spring game this weekend?
Nah. I just have a limited time on my weekends, and I got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, well, it's because of that 30% rain, isn't it? 30% to 100%. Let's be honest.
Nah, I just have, honestly, I'm just still enjoying it. I have weekends off for the first time in like 3 years, and I'm still just getting adjusted to being able to relax on them.
Which makes sense. I mean, you got to take those opportunities as much as you can, especially we got 3 months of a drought before we get football back, roughly-ish, I guess. What? April, before we get some real news again.
Well, well, come on, it's spring. Come on, it's April, which means we're only 2 months away from the NBA playoffs ending.
God, when you say it out loud, that makes it horrible. We're only 2 months off. You're right. You're right. Sean, are you going to actually watch the spring game with everybody, or are you just going to have a surprise anime marathon? Let's be honest. That's what we're really going to have, is a One Piece watch along. The disappointment, I can feel it. So
I just Ed. I'm sorry about the cursing, and I'm more of a calm angry now. I really am. I'm really just, I really waited whether I was going to do this tonight. I really did. I could have so many other things I could have done tonight. So many other things. And I decided to be a good sport about it, and so.
But you graced us with your presence, me and Andrew both with it. So
I'm judging your son harshly, Ed. I really am.
You know what he would say? He would say, and this is different from any day. How? So anyway, guys, I want to thank y'all for coming on. I had a great time with you guys, both of y'all. Next week, we should be having Fanactic Perspective come on. So not only will we kind of be recapping the OU spring game, they're going to be giving us the Texas perspective and seeing what do they have going for Texas down there with the Texas spring game, and then whatever's kind of left for.
You may not want me on that stream.
Is that the fair warning of I'm going to rip Texas a new one?
You're like, what the fuck is wrong with your program? Still, like,
You know,
how
They
do you
hired him.
still have hope?
Then they hired a coach who somehow his best record is 9-4, but he's the second coming.
don't forget too, but it's okay, Andrew, because he was part of the Nick Saban School of Rehabilitation. That's the truth. That's the truth. You know it's the truth.
I can't get national people to acknowledge we have Todd Bates on our staff because
Because it's Oklahoma.
he doesn't exist anymore.
Apparently, oh, we don't have the staff anymore. They're not at Clemson. They're not the beloved East Coast or West Coast. So we get ignored, or Texas.
Like Texas gets to tout they have Kyle Flood all day, but apparently we get Brent and Todd Bates on our staff, and no, okay.
Yeah, because he's not at Clemson anymore, so obviously it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You know who's worried about that? Clemson fans. They know.
Yeah, they've melted down a little bit about it, where they said
because they realize, oh shit, we have Dabo, just pretty much just Dabo again, and we remember those days.
They were mediocre.
Dabo.
Yeah, like they were mediocre. So I agree with you, Sean. I absolutely agree with you. I saw it where they're like, yeah, losing Venables sucks. They expected that at some points. Todd Bates, that hurt. They felt some pain on that one. Absolutely. So, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the spring game. We'll see everybody here probably next week, either Sunday, Monday-ish, depending on how schedules work out for Fanactic to have them.
I ain't being here Monday, so that's for sure.
Well, you have another live stream for you, so that's a thing for you with it. But if we can have that happen. So regardless, guys, thanks for coming on, and we'll see y'all here next week. Have a good one, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. Boomer Sooner.